Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Feeling and Healing podcast. I am your host, Danielle Z, MFT in the making, motivator, and mental health maven. And today I am so happy to welcome Elizabeth Kipp. She is a stress management specialist, trauma specialist. She's addiction recovery and betrayal trauma coach. She also does a lot of transformation methods, and she's really getting into now and known for her ancestral clearing, which we are going to talk about. So thank you so much for being with me, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, Danielle. I'm thrilled to be here, and I love this work so much. So
Yeah.
always glad to have a chance to talk about it.
Oh yeah. So being a therapist in training, I am so curious. Please tell me more about your work with ancestral healing because I come from the world of I'll call it. I mean, maybe it's just maybe calling apples and oranges, or maybe just like a different word, like more like generational trauma. But that it is ancestral, it is
Yeah,
generational.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so what I was interested in, particularly about your podcast, was your focus on patterns
Yes.
and
Yes.
the nervous system. We teach the nervous system how to be by you know what our environment
How we
is and
react.
and we only got so many ways we can react. That those things are predictable, but there's this interplay, and we teach the nervous system how to behave. I'm in recovery from chronic pain, so I know what chronic pain does to a nervous system.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so part of healing from chronic pain, I was in a pain management program, and part of healing from that's where I ran into Ancestral Clearing. They had a wellness practitioner there called John Newton of healthbeyondbelief.com. He's my Ancestral Clearing teacher, and I didn't know anything about this practice.
Yeah. It's the
I,
first time I've ever heard of it
and
too.
I have
Yeah.
this science background, so I had my science hat on in this
Uh-huh.
brand new program where I didn't know anybody, and here I'm in this healing, so I'm in a very vulnerable space, and and he's like bringing this practice, and I'm like, what's happening
Yeah, like
here?
what is this?
And it was very powerful, and I was so impressed with it that I took the first training that I could out of the
Amazing.
program, and I've been doing ancestral clearing since 2014,
That's
almost
amazing.
every day somewhere on the planet. So, and why? Actually, when I get a new client, because I work a
Hmm.
lot in stress management, addiction recovery, betrayal trauma, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The first thing I do with a new client is I assess the state of their nervous system.
Same with me.
And like if they're dysregulated, I take them through 3 minutes of a breath practice that helps them
Hmm.
calm down. And 3 minutes later, they're like, they feel safe instead of
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
and so
you can't do any work if your nervous system's dysregulated if you're
you
not in a
can't
place
learn
of safety.
anything, right?
And yeah, and not in a place of safety. Yeah, for
And so
sure.
you get a new client, and if they're dysregulated, then they're feeling disempowered, and you take them through a breath practice, and you're just guiding, right?
Yeah,
As
yeah,
they're doing the work, and so you take them from disempowered to empowered in 3 minutes.
yeah. And that's
And now
amazing with like
and
breath
now they've
work.
got they've got your attention, you've got their attention. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I start that there, but then the next thing I do is I do the ancestral work,
Got it.
because we come in with, and we can get into the science of this, but we come in with the gifts and the burdens of our ancestors. Spiritual teachers have been telling us that for thousands of years. Science is finally catching up
Catching
to it,
up. Yeah.
and so we know that we have science now that tells us that um, we carry the unresolved trauma of many generations.
Yep, we
So
do.
it's kind of the way I kind of see it is there's a lot of there so there's a flow of energy, right, that goes from one generation to the next, and we're in a system, the life
Yes.
system, the,
Yes.
the life force, and I see the life force within, I mean, I've studied animal behavior and plants and humans. And so I kind of have an evolutionary biology. So I have kind of a large view. And I see the living system as self-correcting or self-balancing. It's always, we have this thing called in biology, this thing called homeostasis, where we're always moving towards balance. The system itself is has got that in it. And so what's kind of interesting is if our information comes through to us from previous generations, and it's like this is what this is what we have. And it feels to me like it's the system's best guess at what we're going to be faced with in this generation.
Yes.
And we also carry what we would call the unfinished business of the last generation. So it's very hard. This is why I do this part first. It's pretty hard to like see through a clear lens when you come in with your, if you're coming with glasses, you see your lenses are already clouded with the unfinished business. So how are you supposed to see your own path when you've got the influence of the ancestors before you in a negative way?
Yes.
You see
Yeah,
what I'm
no.
saying?
And you were speaking, I was nodding and smiling when you were saying homeostasis and systems. I'm like, you're speaking my language. I'm like, I love it. Like, it's so nice to hear from somebody like else. Like, I'm like, because that's the language I speak as a family therapist, homeostasis, generational trauma. We do, I'm sure you've heard of genograms. Like, it's kind of like a family tree that you can see different emotional patterns and things within a system. And it is amazing when I do them with my clients that you do see like similar, whether perhaps it might be
Mm-hmm.
like divorce or it could be death. There's definitely, you can see patterns throughout the generations when you wrote, like, lay it out visually for people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little bit. My family has records on one side, on my mother's side, that go back 12
Hmm.
generations.
Whoa,
And
12?
12. And it's
Wow.
absolutely amazing to me to be able to sit in that history and look at my own stuff. And one of my hot buttons
Mm.
that I've had to work on, and I have, but I part of Ancestral Clearing has been part of it. One of my hot buttons has always been injustice.
Me too.
My righteous indignation around injustice, it just used to be just
Yeah,
like I
it
used to just
activates
get
you.
so
Yeah.
fired up inside. And and then I would get kind of dysregulated, and anything could happen, and come out of my mouth, and that's not a big deal. It's just
Oh yeah, no,
so,
I've been there. Trust me, I've
so
been there, Elizabeth. I've been very dysregulated in my life, I'll admit.
well, we're all human.
Yeah, exactly. We're
and
all only human.
the problem with that is that because I had such a hot button on that, and I'd see some kind of injustice happening in the world, and I get all fired up. I couldn't see the next right step because
Mhm.
the anger and the reaction was a veil that was a block, right, to
Yeah.
seeing what's the
Yeah.
next right step for me. And I'll give you an example. It's a little bit controversial, but it's a good example.
Yeah, no, please,
when
no,
when
go
Roe
for
v.
it. Yeah.
Wade got struck down, I just went bonkers,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting here in Kansas, so
Yeah.
you
I'm
know,
New Jersey, so we're a little bluer here. Yeah.
Anyway, so I and I noticed it, and thank goodness I knew I had tools and stuff, but I had this
You felt
flare,
it. You felt it.
and part of the work that I did around that was I did some nervous system work, and I did some ancestral clearing work, and I
Hmm.
got myself. It took a little while because I was really upset,
Of course.
but I got myself sorted out, and then I knew, where do I have power in this situation. Part of it was like I didn't feel like I had any power, right? So that was even worse. So, but I realized, here's the thing: where do I have power in this situation? Well, I have the power to vote. and I have
Yes.
the power to spread the word that the vote is coming. And Kansas was the first to vote on that after it
Yeah.
happened. Like, right. So, and the women, it was great.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah.
It was
No,
pretty
but I
epic.
yeah, I feel I'm there with you. I would say like I'm there with you. And that I remember that was it was what, June of 2 years ago? It was June of
It, it,
2023, I think.
it was a while back, but I
It was
remember
like, yeah, I remember it was
I
like
was
a
super upset.
summer. I remember it was like a summer afternoon, and I was like, oh, you just
Yeah,
like it was. I think remember it was like if I recall, it was on a Friday, and I was like, man, you just really ruined my weekend. Like,
yeah. So, so here's the thing that's interesting. If you go back into the history of my family, and you could probably say this about anybody that has European, certainly European, and not limited to
ancestry, yeah.
European, but I'm just saying, in the European population, you could go back and say this: 12 generations, persecution.
Mm.
We were
Yeah.
persecuted because we were
Yeah, when you
because of our
fled,
religion,
yeah, religion, yep.
and we like we had our land taken from us from the king, and we got disowned, and it was like it was like a thing.
Well,
So
that's how America was built,
well
from
there, yeah,
religious persecution
then you
from
just
Britain
then
to,
you just
here.
add that whole energy of colonialism, and all of that,
Yes.
and so
Yes.
that is a heady. That's why I say, just because we have actual data in my own family, but you can say that about the culture,
Yeah,
right? You can say that
absolutely.
about the
Absolutely.
culture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I didn't even think about that. Like, you're like, yeah, that's just part of like, yeah, exactly. Cultural, social norms that we,
So one of the things that we also notice, that we do, we always make sure to take care of this in ancestor clearing, is if you look at my family, you see, and you could say this about any family, I think, really in Europe. That's a big statement, but a lot of them, you see that you've got the energy of being oppressed and the oppressor.
mm,
So we always clear for both sides because we don't know what happened, but
yeah,
we kind of you can kind of see that if you look at the culture, if you just kind of look at the culture in the last, what, couple hundred years,
yeah.
you can see oppressed and oppressor energy in cultures,
Mm.
kind of, if you look, you can see that.
Interesting. Yeah, you see that pattern. Yeah.
So yeah, so we make sure to clear in ancestor clearing. We make sure to clear for both sides to make
Hmm.
sure, because we don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that
So
is
that's just
amazing
an
work.
example of how patterns can show up. So that persecute, when I was like, oh, well, gosh, we were persecuted, and so of course I'm gonna,
You're gonna have a
so
reaction
this
to
is a
it.
perfectly natural thing for me, and they, I don't know that they ever resolved it, at least to the point where, because it wasn't like I had, I mean, I had some I had some episodes of injustice in my own life growing up,
Hmm.
but nothing like that, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
nothing that would really warrant, I don't think of. I mean, it would be something I could, well, that thing happened, and clear it and move on. No, this was a. So we say, if it's hysterical, it's historical.
Oh, I like that. If it's
So if we have
hysterical,
this
it's
big,
historical. I
if we
like
have like
that.
a hysterical level reaction to the
I
thing,
love that.
it's about the lineage.
I love that. I love a good like I like words are my thing, so I love a good like alliteration, or I love a good like that's great. I love it. I love it. If it's hysterical, it's historical. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So at least it helps us put it in perspective, because some people come to me like I'm crazy. I don't know why I'm having such a
Like a reaction to this. Yeah.
such a wild reaction. I'm like, well, let's just do the thing, and we'll do this process and see where it takes us. And it turns out there's all this stuff in their, in their lineage. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, when
So
people
anyway,
come to you and do their work with you, do you how do you uncover that, or how do you get their like they have like their, I guess they work with others like 20 like the 23andMe's, or the what is the other one
no,
called?
it's very, it's a little bit different from, I understand that work, and I've been in it,
Yeah.
and I've looked at it and all that, but this is not that.
Got it. But they need to have like some sort of I guess like insight to their family tree and
Not
like,
really.
oh
No,
really? Okay.
no, not in this work.
Oh, interesting. That's interesting.
It's kind of cool. The magic of this work is that we're working in the present moment with what's present with you now,
Mm,
and it's magical. I say I use that word carefully because the quantum physicists tell us that we can access the past, present, and future all through the present moment.
we can.
Now, if you look at Newtonian physics, it doesn't recognize that, but quantum physics does. Newtonian physics is more like linear, it's looking at
Mm,
linear time. Quantum physics is looking at the present moment, the concept field of consciousness. So it's like a different
yes.
perspective. So ancestral clearing is using that, call it a portal, that moment, and we're actually there's about 30 different ways that John teaches that we can get at the burden. um,
Yeah.
and I can share one with you here,
Yeah,
in
sure.
this format. But uh, we ask the person, where do you, when you think about the thing,
Mm-hmm.
like, maybe you've got a pattern in your life. um, I have trouble. Like I can't. I'm paycheck to paycheck. I never can get ahead. That's really common, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you've got this
Mm-hmm.
scarcity thing going on, and that's, it's really common.
Yeah.
So okay, so that's the issue. They choose that, and where do you feel that in the body when you think about it? So we access the body, and then we're off to the races. And because it kind of shows us, we kind of get out of the mind. We use the mind to get to the issue, and then we drop into the body, and it knows where it lives, and it's pretty magical.
Mm.
So um, and then what we do is we kind of have a process we use, which I can't really show you here.
It's
Other
okay.
than I can bring in a process a little bit later. But we're able to kind of get to the root of the issue. And then what we do is we bring in, it's a spiritual practice, so we bring in creator and ask it to help us release that which no longer serves us.
Love it.
So we're not asking it to take anything away, we're asking it to help us release.
Mm-hmm.
See,
And
so
something that,
free will
yeah.
is all in there,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
So here's the thing that's cool. I use that thing about my anger for a reason. Here's the thing I love about ancestral clearing is it respects free will. So
Mm.
I don't want to lose that hot button altogether.
No, no, yeah.
I don't want to be neutral about injustice in the world.
No,
I
no,
just
yeah.
don't
And
want to
I'll,
have
yeah, yeah.
I
You're
just
allowed
don't
to have a reaction towards
I
that.
don't
Yeah.
want to have such a hot button that I can't see my next step. And so ancestral clearing has helped me release that part of all of that no longer serves me, so that now I don't have a block in front of me that says, "Oh, you know what? You've got power. You can go vote on this thing, and you can help get the word out to everybody else that the vote's happening whenever." Right?
Yes,
And so
yeah.
you
Like
can
that's what you
that's
can,
where
the
you have
next step,
power.
that's the next steps you can
And
take. Yeah.
and the rest is not mine.
Yeah.
You
You're
know,
right. It's up to the universe or whatever
it's
you believe
yeah,
in.
it's
You
not
know?
it's
Yeah.
not my concern, right? And
Yeah.
that's a very powerful space to be able to, operate from, because now I'm not suffering. I've clearly defined the field, and I'm not suffering. And as somebody in recovery from chronic pain, I've got the suffering thing down. I can bring on suffering like
Yeah.
like
You
my
can
old
call it
pattern.
into your being. Yeah.
Like that. That's that I took a lot of rewiring to kind of undo that habit. So, and ancestor cleaning was a big part of it. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you have found your gift in this training and that it sounds very just freeing.
Yeah, yeah. I'd love to give an example of it, and so that everybody can, who's listening,
Sure,
has an
absolutely.
experience of
Please.
it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like when you ask what's ancestral clearing, it's kind of like asking, what is chocolate or what is ice cream? You kind of, you don't know really
You have
how to
to, yeah,
explain it.
yeah, yeah.
You kind of have to do it.
Yeah, you have to taste it. Yeah, whatever you feel comfortable with, absolutely go for it.
So this is an ancestral clearing prayer to release self-doubt that I
Okay.
thought I would
I
do.
love it. Yes, please.
And in this practice, we use the word forgive very specifically to mean offer up that which no longer serves us. Forgive means forego, and in this context, we're offering it up to Creator,
Hmm.
uh, to uh, uh, to help us release, not take anything from us, help us release that which no longer serves. And we use that word forgive for that.
Okay.
And again, we offer it up to whatever you call that that created all of creation. Whatever
Yes,
you
I
call
always
it.
say like fill in the blank, like
Yeah.
universe, God, creator, source, the tree, a tree, like like I'm like whatever you
That's right.
believe in.
Yeah. So everyone listening to this, if you could just sit quietly for a moment and just notice what sensations you feel in the body, breathing normally, and just let these words pass over you. Divine Creator, Great Spirit, God, source of all that is, thank you for your infinite gifts, for the breath of life, for the unseen stream of love that carries us through generations. We come to you humbly and gratefully and ask your help for us, all versions of us, all our relationships, and all our ancestors and all their relationships across space, time, dimension, lifetimes, timelines, and realms. For all inherited energies and patterns passed down to us that were the residue of wounds we didn't create, yet were born into. For all the stories spun from them, for all the misunderstanding, blame, and suffering that followed in the lineage as a result. Please help us all to forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. For all the times any of us were abandoned, neglected, not supported, nurtured, or loved in the ways that we needed. For the times any of us behaved like this to others, or weren't able to offer safe harbor to others for whatever reason. For all survivors' guilt, and for the times any of us stood by and watched others suffer and were unable to help. Please help us all to forgive and release anyone involved directly or indirectly, and help us all forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. For everything that led up to and arose from arguments, disagreements, fights, battles, wars, holocaust, genocide, persecution, slavery or any other oppression, repression, or injustice of any kind. Please help us all forgive everyone involved directly or indirectly, and help us all forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. For any time we made mistakes that we couldn't come back from or weren't able to rectify, that caused harm in any way to others, to the land, or to ourselves. For the times when no matter what we did, we couldn't seem to get things right, and how we lost our self-confidence and no longer trusted ourselves. Please help us all forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. For all rejection and for the ways generational criticism eroded our confidence. Everything that led up to and arose from it. For the harsh judgments that said nothing we did was ever enough. For when our worth was tied to behavior rather than our being. For all the times love was made conditional on performance, perfection, or obedience. Please help us all to forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. For the patterns of comparison and competition within the family, favoritism, and how we then measured ourselves against one another, which fed into dysfunction and suffering within the family. Please help us all forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. For the shame of being too much or not enough, for all the ways we hid, silenced ourselves, or made ourselves small to avoid judgment or even draw attention to ourselves. For the hunger for approval left by emotional neglect, for the invisibility we learned as safety, and for the perfectionism we carried to shield ourselves from criticism. Please help us all forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. For the fear of speaking truth after being bullied, mocked, dismissed, ignored, shunned, or persecuted, and for the times we stood powerless to help as we watched this happen to others. For the dreams and desires we buried so as to not rock the boat, or because in all the dysfunction we lost track of our dreams and the inspiration beneath them altogether. Please help us all to forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please and thank you. For any self-abandonment woven into our lineage, any vows of martyrdom passed down as loyalty, belief that suffering was survival or silence was safety. For the unspent tears of grief in the lineage and the effects of unresolved trauma that we carried forward. For the unspoken roles of caretaker, fixer, or peacemaker that kept us denying our own needs. Please help us all forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. For the inherited stories of failure, shame, and exile that whispered, don't trust yourself, don't trust life, and don't trust you, Creator. For the fear that following our intuition would bring danger or loss. For any time we weren't able to help no matter what we said or did. And all that meant to us about ourselves, each other, life, and even you, Creator. Please help us all forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. For the ways we internalize suffering as identity, equating endurance and even exhaustion with worth. For the times we felt let down on any level. For all the inverse burden. And for any time any of us experienced these energies in the womb and took them on. Please help us all forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. Please help us release one another and release ourselves from these burdens now and forever, please, and thank you. And please help us remember always your love that flows through us, beyond condition, beyond performance. Help us to feel this love in our own hearts and realize it in others. Please and thank you, please and thank you, please and thank you.
I love that.
Just taking a nice big breath in and let it out and notice how that feels in the body compared to when we started. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'll share that I definitely feel more at peace and a lot. I kept on nodding as you were talking, and that's a very powerful prayer.
Mm.
And it covers like all, it's very well rounded too. So kudos to whoever authored that prayer because yeah, I definitely feel lighter, and that's I guess the point is to feel unburdened.
Mm. Yeah. So that work, the the format of the prayer,
Hmm.
the creator, and then what we're forgiving for, and then the please and thank you. That's work that was pioneered by Howard Wills, who
Okay.
lives in Kauai, Hawaii,
Ooh,
and also then and then was later developed into Ancestral Clearing and is taught by John Newton of healthbeyondbelief.com. But that prayer, that's between creator and me. I did a whole workshop on
that's
self-doubt,
amazing.
and I said it's so interesting. I'm about to do another one on the womb of creation.
That's awesome.
On Sunday, we're going to do one on the womb of creation for this time near the solstice to kind of get
Hmm.
in to clear any blocks around being silent, sitting in
Mm.
silence, right? And anyway, so I get ready for these workshops, and as soon as I kind of decide I'm going to do a workshop on this thing, and then people start registering, the work starts, and
Hmm.
and I get the downloads start, and that's a kind of a co-created thing between creator and me. I'm just kind of an instrument there. Yeah.
That's amazing. I would love to attend your workshop. When is it?
Oh, it's Sunday. It's
This
Sunday.
Sunday. Oh, I
I
mean,
can I can send you a link.
yes, please. And I'll show it too. So send you me the link and I'll put it in the show notes for any of the people in the audience that would like to attend as well. That sounds like a very enlightening and healing and just amazing experience.
Well, when you get a chance to see the practice in its
Mm-hmm.
full
Oh,
flavor,
four.
because we'll
Yeah.
we'll we'll get a chance to really work on people, so where it is in the body, and we chase it around, and we do the work, and it's really it's so much fun because everybody's different. Like I said, when in the nervous system's only got so many ways that it can react. We know it's predictable, and yet there's this infinite variation, right?
Of yeah, of different people reacting a certain way. And I love too that and like I'm just getting more into this because I always say to people, I'm very mental, so I'm very cognitive. I stay in my head a lot, but
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
mind body connection is real.
Hmm.
And I'm glad you mentioned your body, like that you do body work because
Hmm.
as we all know, trauma, pain, and then even good things, good feelings, they live in your body.
That's right.
So
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you know I've mentioned this book a lot, The Body Keeps the Score.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that was like the pioneering, I guess,
Hmm.
mainstream for, people out there to like really recognize like, yeah, like your emotions, if they are stored in your body and not processed correctly, can impact your mental health, your physical health, your
Hmm.
body
Hmm.
and so forth. Yeah, so
That's
I'm
right.
really
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's definitely amazing that you start with the body. And even like even just thinking like primally from what in conversations I've had with other podcast guests um like if you look at animals, right? Like if they get scared or something, like they start shaking.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's,
They
you
know how to
know,
do
and
that. We've just done
that's
that.
them releasing their
That's right.
fear and their anxiety. And
That's right.
like we're not like I mean, and it's just because at the end of the day, we are, we're mammals,
We
you
are,
know?
but we've got this frontal lobe
Frontal
that
cortex, yeah.
it's just it's
Yeah, I could
just
probably pick literally, pun
mm,
intended, pick your brain, you being a science buff, because I'm very interested in this thing here because
mhm,
this thing here is so complex, but
mhm.
it's simple. It's like it's such an interesting muscle, our brain.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
find it just fascinating because
Mhm.
it's the way it's built and the way we're wired, like, and neuroplasticity, how we're able to literally change our neural pathways with our thoughts. Like, that's amazing that we can do that. We have that
Well,
capability.
I say that I'm glad you brought that in because it's kind of put kind of a cap on this whole episode. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
the brain, the way I kind of put it is the brain is this extraordinary, um, reactive, very sensitive.
Very
You know,
sensitive.
it carries the memory of the past, right, as momentum, and and it's also super reactive to the present.
Yes.
So what
Yes.
I'm doing in
Very
this
reactive.
moment is like, is this helping me create a new way of living, or if I'm am I feeding my old behavior, my old pattern, right? And
Hmm.
then the other part of that is that the brain likes repetition. It's got this thing
Repetition, yeah.
about repetition. So if we repeat negative thoughts, that's the brain is gonna that's now you're building a channel around that. But if you're repeating positive, healthy habits, now you're building a new highway. And I was just listening to Dr. Kate Truitt, who's a brain person, trauma person, and she said that the research is that 3 minutes of a thing 5 times a day. That's the repetition pattern.
Three
So if
minutes of a
it's a
thing. Okay,
long,
I'm gonna
deep
remember
breathing
this.
thing, three
Okay.
minutes of the
Whatever you
new
want to focus on.
whatever the
The new
new
behavior
pattern
or
is.
whatever.
Yeah, 3 minutes, 5 times a day is the brain's very responsive. That's a way to build a pathway pretty quickly.
Oh, that's amazing.
Relatively speaking, yeah. So that's kind of cool. There's even science around that. So
Yeah,
understanding
no.
that when we clear these old patterns, right? Your podcast talks about patterns. On when we clear these old patterns, what does that mean? We start to we become less attached to them, and we
Yes.
begin to and in that we begin to now be able to build a new pattern. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say actually, I'm sure I don't know if you watched the episode, but I think you probably did the episode with another fellow um marriage and family therapist, Danielle Costanza, and she said like you cannot break a pattern that you do not recognize. Like, and that's the power of ancestral clearing too is that like you don't even really have to recognize it if you do the body work, the
That's
somatic
right.
work,
Yeah. Well,
the
the body
spiritual work.
recognizes it.
Yeah, exactly. So once you fix it in the body, and
Yeah.
I feel like we're moving towards that direction. I think we stay like, but then again, the pendulum. I live in the psychology world. I'm sure you know, being in science and
Mhm.
the work you do. Like, there's always a pendulum, right? Like
Mhm.
like one time they're talking about the brain and now everybody's talking about like gut health and then people are talking about liver health. Like it's like there's always something where
That's
we're
right.
winding it, we're weaving into this mental health or we're wellness space, which I find fascinating because I'm very holistic. I like to and I always tell people like listen to your body. I know it's such simple advice, but because people, I think, as a society, and you brought up like how you were angered by injustice, I think, and I'll bring up even as like women, right? Like we're taught and we're conditioned to like don't show emotion, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
stay shrink.
Hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
like no, like that is actually not good for our nervous systems,
That's right.
or because as human beings we need to process our
That's
emotions,
right.
like.
That's right. Yeah.
And if they stay stored in your body and you don't process them, or you're in a environment that won't allow you to process your emotions correctly, that's when the symptoms show up.
And
That's
you wonder
when
why we have autoimmune disorders all over the place. Just as an
and I
example.
I
And I'm not
actually said that.
diagnosing, I'm just saying, it's just
Yeah,
an
no, I
example.
mean, like, no, exact, and like, there's evidence based. I was just talking to somebody yesterday, or actually, maybe in one of my classes, it was. We were talking about. I'm sure you've heard of. It's a model of therapy called. I talk about it all the time on the podcast. I love it because I love it. It's internal family systems.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
IFS. Yeah, Dick
Yeah.
Schwartz.
Hmm.
And there's evidence-based studies now because you said you had like chronic pain, and I'm so sorry to
Hmm.
hear that. But
Hmm.
there is studies now, like science-backed, evidence-based, that like you can link chronic pain to trauma, which
Oh,
can
of
be
course. Yeah.
cured or
Yeah. Hmm.
helped or like whatever through healed. That's a better word. Excuse me, healed through IFS therapy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's
so it's
amazing.
really amazing,
Yeah.
what
It's
our
not the
body
only thing.
remembers.
It's not actually what we used, what the guy used in, Dr. Prescott used in my program,
Okay.
in the program that I went through. But he did what we call, I mean, it was a holistic program. His version of IFS would have been what he called adversity therapy. And it
Okay.
was really not so much, it was a little bit parts work, but it was mostly like rewriting what it was that happened. So it's
So
kind
that's
of
like
like a little bit of
like
parts work and a little
narrative.
bit of EMDR without the movement.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I'm always so curious. I one of my goals in life, I would love to create like a model of therapy like IFS, or like, and like people would study it, because I will tell everybody, as a therapist in training, and I'm in school right now, the theories that were taught, while I appreciate them, they're very outdated. I mean, like these are all
Oh, I
theories
hear
from
you.
like the 50s and the 60s, where we need to bring in
Mhm.
newer
Yeah, they don't
data.
understand the role of, well, like you said, there's the misunderstanding about the role of the nervous system, safety, and then there's like, like a vacuum around the microbiome. Just
Exactly.
as like, and that's a whole nother podcast. But
Yeah, I know we can talk about that for a whole nother thing. But no, Elizabeth, this has been, and I would love to have you on for another episode because I could talk. There's so many things that like we could talk about. Like when I saw your bio, I was like, yep, yep, yep. We could talk about all these things. You're like living and breathing my, mission with feeling and healing. But thank you so much for being on this podcast. I appreciate you. And for everybody out there, Elizabeth is on all the social channels. Her website is elizabeth-kipp.com. And she's on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Elizabeth Kipp. I know you have Facebook, you're Elizabeth Kipp 3, LinkedIn, you're Elizabeth Kipp, all that fun stuff. And then also too, I will share the when you share me the link for the
yeah,
thing,
sure.
the event on Sunday, I would love to attend.
Okay, I'll shoot the link to you as soon as we're done here. Thank you so
Great.
much for the opportunity to share on your podcast and to hang out for a while. This is great.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'd love to have you back because I could talk about this kind of stuff like all day. literally all
Excellent.
day. Like
Uh,
it's actually quite sad that like I could probably go 8 hours talking about this kind of stuff.
uh,
But
very
thank you,
good.
Elizabeth.
Take
Thank
care.
you,
Have a
everybody.
good
And
one.
as usual, you can find the Feeling and Healing podcast on YouTube as well as Apple Podcasts and Spotify.